Welcome to your Monday. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne, aka your Mr. Monday, and this quick bit of motivation and inspiration was originally published on November 22nd, 2021. The original message goes as follows. The emperor having no clothes is obvious, even to the emperor. What is never too obvious is who has the power to tell the emperor of his folly that can survive the ordeal of truth. So, going deeper into this message, this is one that I was basically just gnashing my teeth, just ready to get to, because this is a message of such simple thought that it seems like it's an obvious thing. But as it says in the using a word that is not so obvious, the obvious things aren't so obvious, even when they are. So let's back up for a second. The emperor has no clothes. That's the children's story that we all know and most of us love about an emperor who is convinced, basically snookered into paying a tailor, who's not a tailor, to create him the grandest set of clothes ever. Because the emperor is pretty into himself, he cannot have it believed when he's told these clothes are so grand that they don't actually exist, even though he knows that he doesn't actually exist. So the tailor, of course, creates this beautiful set of clothes which don't exist and has the emperor parading around in his underwear. And every time the emperor tells people who come into the room that he's got this brand new set of clothes, and the tailor comes up with this grand explanation, this great description of how they look, and the emperor, who is not wearing any clothes but doesn't want to seem like a fool, tells folks, don't these clothes look great? Everyone else who does not want to disappoint the emperor tells him the clothes look great. And in the story, they go on a parade and he's marching down the street until some little boy is like, why is the emperor walking around in his underwear? At which point everyone sort of realizes they don't have to live up to the lie anymore because someone said what the obvious. The emperor has no clothes. And because the young boy is just a random innocent child, he can survive the ordeal of bringing out the truth, even though there should be a whole lot of extra folly, if you will, from all those folks who have lied to the emperor and the emperor himself lying to himself. So when you're dealing with a situation when something is pretty obvious that what is being said, it's not exactly what's out there for truth. It's not truly a gaslighting situation, but something where you're living up to some sort of standard that isn't worth it. You're trying to produce something for a client that doesn't actually exist. You're looking for problems that aren't really problems, but having all these solutions to things that don't really work out so well. That's time, effort, and resources put into things. And if you're pretty sure they're not going to actually work out, working harder at those things isn't going to make it so they work out better. It's just more time, effort, and resources is something that's probably not going to work out. The problem is, you can't really tell somebody who is so dug in on that thought process that what they're doing is a bad idea. You couldn't tell the emperor he did not have beautiful clothes because he was so conceited and didn't want to feel like a idiot in front of this tailor person who was just taking him for a ride that he had no clothes on. If you are working on a project that's doomed to fail, you know it's doomed to fail, people involved know it is doomed to fail, then someone should be able to say, this isn't going to work. Even if it is the favorite project of your boss who just wants this thing to be willed into existence. If there's something wrong with it, there's something wrong with it. And maybe it can be fixed, but you've got to address it now before you go down this road of ridiculousness, knowing that it's not going to work out. Maybe it's a relationship. You are the person who just knows this other person is meant to be in your life. The greatest love of all is between the two of you, and they're not showing you the time of day. They're not giving you the time of day. They're not showing you any sort of affection, any sort of respect, if they will. If you have friends who are good friends, your over enthusiasm and belief that this relationship is going to be great should be lessened, maybe not hardly lessened, but lessened to a point where you can see the folly of your ways and the effort putting into this relationship. They're not going to just cheer you on to the point where you keep embarrassing yourself because they're friends. And if they do, they may be their friends or no friends of yours because they should be looking out for you. They won't tell you that this is a useless endeavor, but they will try to get you to open your eyes a little bit and take off the rose-colored glasses to see what the reality is and what the conditions are. And maybe this person is meant to be, but maybe not quite in the lineup as you just think they're going to be swept off your feet instantly because you're just you. Because it takes more than you just being you. So, think about that when you're in a situation where you know it's not going to work out. And everyone around you knows it's not going to work out. But someone has to be the person to say the word. Are you the person that can survive that ordeal? Is a coworker, is a friend, is a family member, the person who is always a speaker of truth and not in the way that it's not in the keeping it real type of truth where they're just sort of just mouthing off, but actually the speaker of actual truth that can get you out of those jams. You should work to be a person who people trust enough that you can be the speaker of truth in any situation as it is. Because being the emperor with no clothes is not a fine way to live life. It's a fine way to basically catch cold and look silly in public. The emperor having no clothes is obvious even to the emperor. What is never too obvious is who has the power to tell the emperor of his folly that can survive the ordeal of truth. This original message was published on November 22nd, 2021 from Welcome to Your Monday. For more messages like this one, plus books, merchandise, and other information related to this project, visit the website, welcometoyourmonday.com.